High above the Caspian Sea, in the rugged mountain landscapes of Dagestan, life unfolds differently. The terrain is harsh, the communities tightly knit, and discipline is not so much taught as it is inherited. It is in this setting that Islam Ramazanovich Makhachev's story begins, a story that would one day stretch far beyond the boundaries of his small village and position him among the greatest fighters in the world. Born on October 27, 1991, in Makhachkala, Islam spent his formative years in the close-knit village of Burshi. The realities of village life were simple yet demanding. His father worked as a driver, often long hours on unforgiving roads, and supplemented the family's needs by cultivating vegetables. His mother ran a local cafe, serving simple homemade meals to neighbors and travelers. There were no promises of fame, no elaborate sporting facilities, and no access to global training programs. What the village did have, however, was a culture of discipline, respect, and physical toughness, qualities deeply rooted in Dagestani traditions. Children in Burshi learned early that strength of character mattered as much as physical strength. Even before Islam understood the broader world of martial arts, those values shaped him. Like many boys in the region, he was introduced to combat sport at a young age. At 7, he joined a local taekwondo class under a respected regional competitor. His early training instilled balance, flexibility, and a foundation of striking technique, skills that would later blend seamlessly with his grappling-heavy identity. But Dagestan is a land of grapplers, and Islam soon transitioned towards Sanda, then eventually toward combat Sambo, the martial art that would become the heart of his fighting style. Grappling was deeply embedded in local culture. It was normal to see young boys wrestling outside or practicing throws in community centers. Islam absorbed these influences naturally. One of the pivotal moments in Makhachev's life was meeting Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov, the father of future UFC legend Khabib Nurmagomedov. Abdulmanap was more than a coach. He was a visionary architect of Dagestan's modern fighting dynasty. He believed in discipline rooted in tradition, in humility before greatness, and in training that tested every aspect of a young athlete's character. Under Abdulmanap's guidance, Islam matured from a promising martial artist into an exceptional one. Training in the mountains, where oxygen was thin and every session demanded physical and mental resilience, shaped him. He trained among peers who would go on to become elite fighters themselves. The bond forged with Khabib Nurmagomedov would later become a defining part of his MMA legacy. Abdulmanap's approach to development was holistic. He trained the body relentlessly, but also trained the mind. Discipline, honor, family, and self-control were not just ideals, they were non-negotiable expectations. This foundation gave Makhachev a level of emotional steadiness that would later distinguish him from other fighters who relied on aggression or theatrics. By his late teens, Islam was competing in combat Sambo at an elite level. In 2016, he became world champion in the 74-kilogram category, a monumental achievement in a sport where Russian athletes compete against the best grapplers globally. The discipline of Sambo, fast transitions, explosive throws, suffocating top pressure, and submissions from any position became the bedrock of his MMA style. Islam made his professional MMA debut around 2010. He fought in local promotions, often against opponents with considerably more experience. Yet he lived up to the standard Abdulmanap expected: calm under pressure, technically sound, and utterly controlled. Fight after fight, he demonstrated an ability to dominate opponents on the ground, neutralize their strengths, and impose his pace. Makhachev's early career quickly attracted attention for his composure, a rare quality in young fighters. He was not reckless, not emotional, not easily baited. Everything he did was calculated. His record grew, his reputation expanded, and soon the UFC, the world's most prestigious MMA promotion, signed him. Islam made his UFC debut in 2015, earning a submission victory that showcased his grappling. However, his career had setbacks too, including a surprising knockout loss early in his UFC tenure. Yet where others might have faltered, Islam returned to training with even greater focus. Under Abdul Manap and later Javier Mendez at the American Kickboxing Academy, he refined his striking, sharpened his timing, and developed a more fluid style. Over the years, Makhachev climbed the UFC lightweight ranks not through trash talk or media spectacle, but through pure performance. His reputation became that of a quiet technician, calm, analytical, and nearly impossible to control. Fighters who entered the cage with him often found themselves trapped in a cycle of defensive survival. Takedown, pressure, control, transition, submission threat, repeat. The physical pressure he imposed was intense, but the psychological pressure was often greater. By 2022, Makhachev was widely regarded as the most dangerous contender in the lightweight division. At UFC 280, he faced Charles Oliveira, a fighter known for having the most submissions in UFC history. The matchup was billed as striker versus grappler, yet Makhachev shocked many by outstriking Oliveira before taking him down and submitting him with an arm triangle choke. The victory crowned Islam Makhachev as the UFC lightweight champion. It also symbolized the continuation of Abdul Manap's legacy, as Khabib, now his coach, embraced him in the cage with pride. After defending the lightweight belt, Islam set his sights on an even greater challenge, moving up to the welterweight division. Champions who change divisions risk their legacy, but Makhachev believed in testing himself against bigger, more powerful fighters. In 2025, he vacated his lightweight title and moved up. Critics doubted the move. Welterweights were larger, stronger, and known for punishing power. Yet, at UFC 322, Islam delivered one of the most masterful performances of his career, defeating Jack Della Maddalena by unanimous decision and claiming the UFC welterweight championship. With this victory, he joined the rare group of UFC fighters to earn titles in 2 weight classes, an achievement that cemented his status as one of MMA's all-time greats. Makhachev's fighting style is a blend of Sambo fundamentals, Dagestani wrestling, and evolving striking. His pressure-heavy approach forces opponents to react rather than attack. His transitions are smooth and seamless, making it nearly impossible to escape once he achieves top position. But what truly sets him apart is his mental discipline, fighting with no ego, no drama, and no emotional impulse. His philosophy mirrors Dagestani tradition: remain humble in victory, respectful in competition, and dedicated to constant improvement. Despite global fame, Islam has remained deeply connected to his roots. He spent significant time in Dagestan, maintaining loyalty to the community that raised him. He also trains at AKA in California, where he continues refining his skills in an environment of top-level athletes. He avoids the spotlight whenever possible, preferring a quiet life focused on training, family, and faith. Those who know him describe him as thoughtful, disciplined, and remarkably unaffected by fame. He lives by the values instilled in him as a child: humility, respect, and dedication. Islam Makhachev's journey, from a small mountain village to 2-division UFC champion, is not simply a story of athletic success. It is the story of a culture, a mentorship, and a discipline that transcends sport. He represents the next chapter of Dagestan's fighting legacy, carrying the torch passed on from Abdul Manap and Khabib. More than titles and statistics, his legacy lies in the principles he embodies: that greatness is built quietly through years of sacrifice, that discipline can overcome adversity, and that humility can coexist with dominance. As his career continues to unfold, Islam Makhachev stands not only as a champion, but as a symbol of what is possible when talent, hard work, and unshakable values come together.